No clean sheet. What a shame. Well, finally, after 13 and a half, was it? Or 12 and a half hours? It's one of those. It's so long now that I can't even remember. When was the last time we conceded a goal? Unbelievable run of games without conceding goals, and in some cases not even conceding shots on target. But of course, it was always going to come to an end. And actually, I'm quite glad it happened today against Sunderland. I'm just going to talk about Sunderland at the start of this video, so feel free to skip in if you don't care. But for those of you who don't know, I was at Wembley when they got promoted this year into this season, and what a transformation they went through this summer. And I've been watching them all season long. I've been really impressed with them, and actually, I'd go as far to say they might be the best team we faced in the Premier League this season in terms of organisation, in terms of the noise, the atmosphere there. Obviously, I wasn't at the stadium, but you can just hear it. They're going to be absolutely fine this season. There's absolutely no chance they're going to get relegated. And I was really impressed. I really was. Ballard, of course, as a youngster, signed with Arsenal. He was a part of the academy and obviously didn't quite work out for him. I don't think he ever made a senior appearance, but what a game from him. I'd argue probably man of the match. Sorry, player of the match, player of the game. Can't say man of the match anymore. And then it's Brobby in the 94th minute to score an equaliser. And we haven't won. Guys, it's official. Arsenal haven't won a game. It's been a little while since I did one of these where I'm actually a bit disappointed with the result, which is kind of refreshing in a way. Obviously, I'm not pleased that we didn't win the game, but I'm pleased we didn't lose it. I think on another day we lose this game. We had to battle. You know, we definitely deserved to be 1-0 down at half time. I thought Sunderland were not only more physical, they were better on the ball. They might not have had as much possession as us, but they did more with it. And one thing I will say, the referees were really tedious today. I thought they were pretty shocking in general for both Arsenal decisions and Sunderland decisions. But in the first half, a lot of Arsenal players just going down. We weren't seemingly being physical enough. And then in the second half, we stepped up the physicality. We were more physical, but the referee wasn't having it. And actually, Sunderland players spent a lot of time on the pitch, or on the ground, I should say. So really frustrating to watch. I can't imagine the neutrals enjoyed that game minus the goals, obviously the drama at the end, but it just turned into, oi, you can't touch the player. No contact. You can't do that. Oi, you touched his shoulder. Oh, you've clipped his foot there. It was just constant stop, start. Really frustrating to watch. But fair play to Sunderland. Really, really impressed with their season so far. I think Xhaka has to go down as one of the best signings of the summer. Mukiele as well, big fan of his. And honestly, a player that maybe isn't getting enough of the attention. Xhaka is having a fantastic season, but what about his partner, Siddiqui? He has been fantastic for Sunderland, and I was really impressed with him again today. But that's enough about Sunderland. A 2-2 draw for them is obviously a really good result because it's against Arsenal, top of the league. For Arsenal, this is also a big result. Okay, now the reason I say that is, yes, it's disappointing, and we come into this game as favourites. I think we had a likelihood, a chance of winning the game, 70%, predicted 70% chance of winning, and we've come away with a draw. But what I mean is it's up here. Okay, so we go into this game without a striker. We do not have a fit first team striker. So we have obviously a bunch of teenagers on the bench, and one of those being the recent star man from Hale Academy to break through. And actually, I would have liked to have seen more subs, just talking about the bench. But again, we saw Andre Hermanousse on the bench, along with Dowman, Lewis Skelly, and obviously Waneri as well, 4 teenagers. So that's a massive disadvantage. We did not have the attacking firepower that we needed. It felt like last year again, you know, we just can't seem to keep Havertz and Jesus fit. So yeah, we went and bought Gyökeres, and he's gone as well. So we go into this game with Marino up front, and honestly, I thought we did okay considering we didn't look good in the attacking third. We had a lot of possession. We had a lot of the, I would say, the momentum of attacks. We were hitting them with wave after wave, but we just didn't have that cutting edge. And the fact that we were 1-0 down, it's the first goal we've conceded in such a long time. That could have been a head drop moment, and we could have easily gone 2-0 down. Okay. They created quite a few decent chances. Obviously, we have created more. We can have a look at the stats up here. We've created good chances, and let's not kid ourselves, okay? The second goal, Trossard's goal, is just a phenomenal shot. If that doesn't go in, we've lost this game 2-1. I know football doesn't really work like that, but these are all the elements I get coming away from this game, and that's why I class this as actually a pretty decent result. Okay, a draw on the road to Sunderland, a newly promoted side that have a completely new setup. I mean, they've effectively bought a whole new team. Okay, they've lost some of their best players in Joe Bellingham, for example, but they've recruited well. They're doing really, really well form-wise. At home, was that the first time they haven't lost at home in a couple of weeks? I can't remember. They lost to Manchester United, but that was Old Trafford, wasn't it? But it's not an easy fixture. A lot of people would have seen this fixture, including myself, at the start of the season and gone, well, that'll be all right, won't it? Sunderland at home, a newly promoted side, but genuinely, there's a reason they're in the position they're in. They're doing very well. They're difficult to break down. They're so well coached. And that's why I said, in my opinion, that's the best side we've played in the Premier League this season. We lost at Anfield, but I would say Sunderland were better than Liverpool were. We were just terrible that day. I think defensively, we looked shaky. I mean, can't believe I'm saying that, but we did. We looked shaky. And I think at times, Timber and Calafiori, too far up the pitch. They've clearly been told to do this. We've seen this for a few weeks now, where quite often, actually, especially with Marino up front today, Timber and Calafiori were in the box. Mostly Calafiori, but Timber popped up a couple of times. And I'm obviously not a top class manager, but I do look at that and think, we're away from home here, boys. Can we maybe let Eze go into those pockets, or maybe a Declan Rice, or whatever? It just seemed like we're just forcing that. It did look a little bit too forced, in my opinion. And my biggest takeaway from this, in terms of management of the game, why are we not making more changes? I don't understand why we've made only one sub. Yes, you might say, well, we've got teenagers on the bench, but I'm sorry, okay? Ben White, Lewis Skelly, Hincapié, Norgard, Waneri, these guys have a lot of Premier League experience. Some of them less than the others, of course, like Waneri. But even just throwing on Waneri for Eze instead of when Mosquera came on, I don't really see why we couldn't have done something a little bit more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I get why Mosquera comes on, okay, and going to a 5 at the back to match what they're doing, and also just to try and see the game out, get a 2-1 win. But I'm just confused why maybe we couldn't have seen Waneri slot into midfield, or even Lewis Skelly in midfield, or just some energy. You know, it's a little bit of a weird one, that. I think today was a real prime example of really missing out on Erdegaard. I missed the guy. I've critiqued him quite a lot over the last 6, 12 months, 18 months in some cases, where he's had little to no impact on games. But I feel like this was the kind of game where you have a genius like him unlock that defence. And realistically, Gyökeres would have been fantastic with the physicality up against Ballard, Mukiele, even Kai Havertz. You know, we're really, really thin up front, and it is frustrating. Even Martinelli, you know, there was a point in the first half where Marino might have needed to come off with a head injury, which I'm not going to say that we should have had a penalty, but I think anywhere else on the pitch, and that Ballard elbow is a free kick and most likely a yellow card. He has literally done this. Now, it's okay. It's fine. But Marino almost potentially could have needed to come off there. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if, even if it was just Martinelli, we could have put Trossard through the middle and Martinelli on the left, but we're so light in attack. Our squad is thin up front at the moment, and we did the best we could. So, unfortunately, guys, it is not a win, and that means, of course, it's still just 7 points, which, I mean, 7-point lead with City yet to play, and obviously they could slip up. It's a big game tomorrow. Ideally, we see a draw between City and Liverpool. Some points dropped for both of them would be ideal, but This was a really, really important game today just to continue this amazing run we're on, and we haven't been able to quite do that, but it's okay. We go into the international break in a really good time. Like it's great timing for Arsenal because we do have so many players out injured. Hopefully, some of those guys will be back, and then we'll beat Tottenham. It's fine. We'll just beat Tottenham when we come back. So credit to Sunderland, Andy. If you're watching this, congratulations. I'm sure we'll talk about it. Sunderland fan, it's great. I love this, and I'm actually in awe of how that must feel for Sunderland fans. Just, Arsenal fans, take a moment to think about this, okay? It wasn't that long ago they won promotion, okay? And it was in the playoffs. They were almost 2-0 down in that final, okay? And you look what's happened to Sheffield United after that. And now you look where Sunderland are. They're genuinely, at the moment, one of the top sides in the Premier League. It's just a crazy journey that most teams don't experience. This sudden rise, obviously, I think they will have a fall off, and it might be around AFCON. They lose quite a few key players. We'll see how they get on, but Sunderland fans should be so happy. What a team they're building. And for Arsenal, it's a little bit of a step back, but I don't see it being a major stumbling block. We'll be fine.